The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron 868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. on WAC 90.1 FM. The Living Room, casual conversations on serious topics.
It is now 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm glad to know you're locked on to the true nation station, WACK 90.1 FM, where we are
culture crazy.
First and foremost, let's kick this off as we always do, all right? Must give thanks and praises to Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
Secondly, we must say thank you to those that went before us, and we are not just talking about our ancestors, the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, because we all know, accept, and reiterate that Columbus lied, but also to our brother in music, Tony Prescott, where the P this week stands for
procurement.
Be back to that again, boy.
But you know why I say procurement?
Why?
Because over the weekend I would have seen people trying to procure gas. Line up. I'm no exaggeration. I'm sure it was about 150 cars by the gas station in Vancouver.
Oh,
right, and all to come off the highway to go to the gas station, and traffic to come back onto the highway. As a partner saying his post, make sure that when you try to get all the gas before the price change, that you rock the car a little bit for the bubbles to come out now, so you could put more gas in the tank, because it was ridiculous to see people rushing the gas stations, man.
I honestly
for premium. Anyway, go ahead.
I you gotta say P for petrol.
I could have said petrol.
I honestly start to wonder if people think that tank of gas is gonna last them the entire month of October. Yeah. Because I went to the gas station on Sunday night because I needed gas. My car indicated I only had 19 kilometers left until the next fill. And I was met with a long line, and I wondered why. Why are we still going through this in God's year 2023? But it's something that persists every year, and I do hope that with continued wisdom and continued education, it is something which ceases to happen. Right?
Fair enough.
If you don't know the program that you're listening to, this is The Living Room with DJ Aaron 868. I remind you that Culture is my code, alongside my bro with no fro,
Ricardo Mitchell, the social sage on the global stage.
And we are here.
And Manny.
Hi, Manny. Haven't seen Manny in a while, though.
Yeah. You know, I think hunting season start back.
Yes, it did on yesterday. Well, Sunday, the 1st of October was the first day.
So I had to bring him inside for safekeeping.
Okay, and I did see a lot of persons posting pictures and videos out in the forested areas of Trinidad and Tobago with their catches already.
No comment.
Yeah. There are some things that I need to get off my chest real quickly before we get down into tonight's program. I had to hang my hat twice. Irie Theatre Productions. I went this weekend to see A Brighter Sun.
Yeah.
The set was on point. The singing was on point. The acting was on point. It made me want to go back and read the book again. Excellent job in the production of A Brighter Sun at the Southern Academy for Performing Arts. It started last Thursday and the last show was on Sunday night. Fantastic show.
Yeah.
Right? My other hanging of hat goes out to one Hayley Matthews, the captain of the West Indies women's cricket team. She produced 2 scintillating innings, one where she was dismissed for 99 on Saturday, on Sunday, and on yesterday she made a scintillating century 132 not out, guiding the West Indies women's team to the highest total in a T20 match of 213, where they chased down the previous highest of 212.
Wow. I wish I had known of that match.
And why I'm also hanging my hat to Hayley Matthews is because she's a testament right now to hard work paying off. Because she has been the player of the match for the past 7 T20 internationals that she has played in.
Excellent.
Scoring 429 runs in the process.
That's not bad when you consider 231 of them would have been this weekend.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Right? And she's also an all-rounder. She has taken 15 wickets in that process at an average of 10.29.
All right. What is the young lady's name?
Hayley Matthews.
Hayley Matthews.
Yeah.
Could agree with that. I want to briefly hang my hat to Kevin Humphrey's show, his concert. He had a concert in Kaiser House, well, formerly known as Kaiser House, now known as Cafe Blue.
Right.
It was amazing. It was an amazing concert at my table. Lounge style, live band, awesome band, excellent supporting cast. It was by far one of the most amazing shows I've been to for the year, and I've been to some things. So just want to hang my hat to Kevin Humphrey and his team, and I look forward to being there at the next one.
Hey, I also want to shout out Anne for her excellent just Anne. She didn't give her last name.
Okay.
I want to shout out Anne for her excellent service on Sunday at the gas-free island tours. Right? You know, we always try to shout out persons who are doing good service. So Anne, a pleasant good evening to you and the entire family. Apparently you all are all the way from Guyana.
All right, Anne of Gasbury.
Working so hard here. So Anne, job well done. But equally as much as we hang our hats, we also had to wipe our feet before we come inside. And this wipe foot is more of a precautionary message to a lot of persons. There is a news presenter that weekly comes out and puts out posts that says, don't be dumb on social media. Social media is not a place where you could go and air your opinions openly and not expect recourse. Recently, someone would have gone online and made comments against the NCRHA, that's the North Central Regional Health Authority, the chief of that regional health authority, and they made comments and would have now had to pay close to $1 million in charges for defamatory posts.
Right.
I don't want to call the names of the user or anything, but I'm just saying.
I mean, it's in the papers.
It's in the papers, but I still don't want to do it.
You ain't looking for that smoke.
No. But all I'm saying is, if you have an opinion about something and you want to voice it publicly, please do so in a respectable manner. I understand our Pekong parlance is one which allows us to want to speak freely about any topic. But yes, there's freedom of speech, but there's also consequence of speech. Please be careful of how you speak so that you will not fall subject to expensive consequences, because $1 million ain't no joke money.
Nice. Yeah. So what you saying, Aaron, is to all the keyboard warriors and typing tigers out there. Yeah, that sometimes you have to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Right.
Because either that, or you develop a certain ilk of skill, like the Earl of Rab.
Right.
And put your opinions across in a playful and witful manner, so that you will not be subject to charge.
Well,
with that being said, I would like to charge myself with the responsibility of introducing our guest this evening. Ms. Damali Jeremiah is a counselor at a company which shall not be named. For the past 13 years, she has studied counseling and psychology, and she is also holding a master's degree in industrial psychology as well. Tonight, we are coming here to just kick off Mental Health Month with a mental health conversation. And what I think we want to call it is that mental health is as easy as 1, 2, 3. With that being said, we are going to welcome the beautiful, effervescent, and ever-talented ladies of Vorish, who will be having their concert on the 28th of October.
And that.
I wouldn't be here.
Hey, like you're going carnivaling.
Yes, I'll be across in Tobago Carnival again this year.
Nice.
So
we do another episode from outside.
Yeah, we could do an episode from Tobago. This time, I'm not too sure where I'm staying or anything. How about going? So let me bring in Vorish while I try to go on. Yeah.
Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room.
And we are back after that lovely intro from Vorish. You know, you have to roll the R's. And as advertised, we are joined by Miss Damali Jeremiah. I can't roll my R in that. That'll be real hard.
Don't sound good, no.
Yeah. I sound like I sing in a parang and all I know I can't sing. What?
I just mind my business.
So Damali, we know it's Mental Health Month. So we wanted to kick it off with a mental health conversation, right? Mm-hmm. But for the listeners, also know that we have a breast cancer episode this month, as well as a Calypso episode this month, because apparently October is the month of significances, if that's a word.
Excellent.
So we have to try our best to cover as much as possible. Thank goodness this month has 5 Tuesdays, which also means that it has 5 Mondays. So NIS is going to be high this month for those of you who listened to the budget yesterday. Anyhow, so Damali, we are going to ask you the question that you inspired us to ask here in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
That is
we're not asking you where's the scene, what's the word hummingbird, what's the gist psychologist. We are asking you, how are you?
Oh, thank you, Iran. I so appreciate that. I am well, considering all what is happening. I am well and thankful.
Well and thankful.
Well,
yeah, I could take that comfortably.
Right.
You know,
Go ahead, Ricardo,
out of curiosity, it being Mental Health Awareness Month and all, Aaron, it would behoove me if I did not ask, how are you, sir?
One, I'm confused by the use of the word behooved. I clearly see that you are reading a lot more. I said a lot more, which means that you do read a lot. How am I? I'm actually really good. You know, life has been throwing a lot of curveballs, some of them with some rough skin lemon, and I've just been taking the rough skin lemon and putting it in water and drinking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have that infused water look about you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're fancy now. Back in the day it was lemonade, but now I could see you infusing your water. Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. And for transparency purposes, the question that you love to evade, Ricardo.
Mm-hmm.
How are you?
Well, normally I would say great like carrot and coleslaw, but I have adopted a more transparent response, which is tired but grateful. Because I'd much rather be tired because of productivity as opposed to being tired because of frustration. So I'm in a place where, yes, I could see myself working on the work-life balance a bit, but the season that I'm in, I'm really grateful to be able to put in the kind of work that I'm putting in. So tired but grateful. Thank you for
Thank
asking,
you.
sir.
Thank you very much for your honesty as well. Right? So let's get straight into the meat of the matter, which is mental health. We have encompassed a lot of topics when it comes to mental health. We have spoken on depression, anxiety. I don't think we have ever spoken on substance usage,
Not
which is a
at
show
length.
that, but I think that's a show that we have to get into,
Mhm.
right? But for those of you who may be new to this program, this may be your first time ever listening to us, welcome. So you know that mental health is something that we are very passionate about here. So we want to ask the question first and foremost for those who may be listening, who have been under a rock and never heard this question before. What is mental health?
Yeah, that's for you, Damali.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Aaron. I'm apologies, okay? I didn't know you're directing to me, but yes,
Oh.
Aaron, I didn't hear my name, but thank you, Ricardo, for clarifying.
You're
That's my
welcome.
bad.
I
That's
am
my bad.
I am used to being in a supportive capacity regarding Aaron's communication gaps. It is one of the reasons that the living room has become the program that it is. We work well together.
Excellent, I can see that.
Yes.
Aaron, simply put, mental health is our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Of course, physical also plays a role there, but simply it's our emotional, psychological well-being, and this well-being would impact upon how we think, feel, and act, okay? Mental health examines how we handle stress, how we relate to others, how we make our choices, and it's important at every stage of life, from childhood to adulthood.
I don't think we could have gotten a better answer than that, you know.
Yeah, that ticked all the boxes.
Yeah, but I don't think we have anything else to ask about what is mental health, because we have real questions to ask otherwise, but
So the Mali used to, when you do exams and that kind of thing, you finish in with half hour to spare and waiting for the rest of the class to finish.
I wish, not at all, Ricardo. But being in the field for a certain number of years, yes, you tend to know these things. And it's important, it's around us, so you have to be aware.
Yeah.
I like how you say that it's around us, because the sad reality is mental health has not been that much of a trending topic, right? And we have done our work within the living room to make it a trending topic, right? And I know there are companies throughout Trinidad and Tobago that are doing their work to make mental health a trending topic. And we know that the theme, well, we know that, but for the listeners, the theme for 2023 Mental Health Awareness Month is mental health is a universal human right. And I have to let that soak in, and I'll repeat it. Mental health is a universal human right. So just like how they say, water for all, or we must be able to breathe clean air, mental health is also a universal human right, right? So Damali, do you think that within the last 5 years, that mental health has become a more trending as opposed to it being a taboo topic?
Yes, Aaron, most definitely. Well, first, before I get there, I do commend the living room for always putting this as a focus during Mental Health Month. Congratulations and kudos to you. Thank you very much. Yes, getting back to the question, it has become more trending because I don't want to say that become more prevalent. I want to say that diagnosis and treatment of it definitely has become more of a forefront part of person's lives. So therefore you'll be hearing about it more, you'll be seeing it more, you'll be better able to identify it and take the steps necessary to deal with it. Also acceptance too. So before someone says they are depressed, it will be like, oh, I have to stay away from this person, I have to avoid them. They can't come around my family because depression is contagious. And now it's like, oh, okay, well, I have a cousin or I have a friend who experienced that and this is what they did, or I am going through the same thing. So therefore, this has led to its prevalence and therefore becoming much less taboo.
You had one to ask Ricardo because I've had totally
Yeah,
something that just popped in my head there.
well, that response actually it triggered something for me. Are we now seeing? Well, is it possible that with this acceptance, we're seeing a little bit of an overcorrection where people are ascribing mental health terms and diagnoses to what might just be day-to-day feelings and that type of thing? Because you're seeing a lot of people now almost wearing a cape of anxiety, of depression, like is a sense of ownership that might be a little bit of an exaggerated diagnosis, for want of a better word, and taking away some of the attention from the people who would be clinically diagnosed.
That's very true, Ricardo. A simple example is you would hear a person saying, and I mean celebrities and I want to say quote unquote average citizen, I'm obsessed with this particular brand, or I'm obsessed with this particular song. And it's like, do you know the meaning of the word obsession? So why are you using that as a compliment? Obsession is something that can be detrimental to individuals, both who are experiencing it or who may be on the receiving end of it. So why use that term? But definitely, I share that point, Ricardo. I'm wondering now if persons are overcorrecting and exaggerating for the sake of being just that trendy or nouveau or what they, I don't know if you also use the term au courant, I don't know, popular, whatever it is, yes, persons are bantering it about without, I think, really understanding the depth of what it means.
Right, so even in terms of calibrating the scale, we have to be mindful in our use. We want to accept, but we also don't want to diminish.
Correct, is right. We do want to minimize what those diagnoses mean and how it can be impacting on the individuals involved.
Excellent. Appreciate it.
And my out of the conversation question is, do you think that the pandemic has played a positive role in the development and appreciation of mental health issues?
Yes, most certainly, because during the pandemic, a lot of them came to the fore for individuals, and family members, friends, organizations could not have ignored the issue any longer. So many of them placed it at their forefront in terms of ensuring that employees got the support that they needed, and on a personal level, the social support networks of individuals also strengthened because of what people may have been experiencing at that point in time. So they reached out to each other more, they checked in more, they looked out more, they sought after each other's welfare at a higher level.
Excellent.
Yeah. So as much as we have clamored that the fallout from the pandemic, we are still seeing a lot of it. There were some positives out of it. Hopefully a work from home situation in some scenarios, as well as also genuinely checking in on persons.
Yes.
Because as we learned in that episode of Damali almost 2 years ago, genuinely asking someone how they are, how are you, is what you should be asking, and don't ask just a Mako, what I cooked yesterday.
And it is actually a thing. Sometimes when people ask me how I'm doing, I feel as if you're really asking me how I'm doing to make sure that I have room for you to run whatever you want to run by, man. Like you don't legitimately want to know how I'm doing. You really want me to get around to the, yeah, I good, how are you? So that then you could start to offload and unpack. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, that somebody would take the time to make sure that it's okay before they start unpacking and that type of thing. I guess is another space where we have to find that balance as we calibrating.
Correct. Because if it's a segue, you're asking me as a segue to really ventilate how you are doing, well then what about me? It still goes back to my own, thoughts and feelings within the situation. So do you really care to hear, or am I just a sounding board?
Try not to throw the baby with the bathwater. So, we taking it.
That's how you get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
Understood.
If we could get to the point where our conversation could be about both people exchanging and sharing, as opposed to just being alright with me offloading because you're available.
Yes, because Ricardo, if you're only the receptor, right? Let's say you have 5 friends and they are all using you as the receptacle. Then who is your receptacle?
Yeah.
Or are you going to carry around 5 additional loads of baggage?
And then the judge when you have a emotional support, man, cool.
Oh, that's what that is. I was wondering, but my good manners would have told me not to ask.
I find us saying I appreciate you plenty this episode, but thank you for that. And yeah, you're right. You know, we should be mindful of our needs and our capacity as well. You know, sometimes you ask somebody how to go in, and you know you're doing it out of manners, and you really run the risk of putting them in a position where if they start telling you how they're really doing, you didn't sign up for all of that.
True.
Yeah. I realize people circumventing that by saying, I hope everything cool with you. A definitive statement as opposed to asking the question.
Or the I'll keep you in prayer. I'll keep you in my thoughts.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so Iran, I was not gonna hand back over.
No, actually, another question, because you just spoke of the fact that for persons who may be the bearer of all the information, you know, the question came up for who is their person, right? And just like how we'll ask a doctor, does a doctor go to a doctor, or do they self-diagnose? As a psychologist, somebody in the clinical field, Damali, do you go to a therapist as well?
If there's a need to Iran, most definitely, certainly, for sure, as the Lord makes night to follow thee. I tell clients all the time, counselors have counselors too, because we are human. And we are the tool to support you all. And if as a tool we are dull, well then we are good for no one, not even ourselves. So we need to go somewhere to get ourselves sharpened so that we can be the best we can be to give to you, our clients.
Damali used to get 100 on every test, and I realized that.
I'm finished fast.
Yeah, but now, Damali, this is like the basic conversation anyone would want to have on mental health. And when I say the basic conversation, because just to even understand mental health and go in depth into it, you need to know what it is. And you are helping us get the greater appreciation now for what mental health is. And understanding, firstly, where it was, and the line that we have continued to go down to get it to this point. And now the next question is, what do we need to do, or what can be done to continue this upward trajectory in the prevalence of mental health?
Iran, just what we are doing here right now, and more of this. Having discussions, normalizing discussions and conversations, normalizing awareness. I would not call the organization's name, but they usually run an ad now, I see before the news at night, where their purpose is to bring mental health awareness to the public. And look at the time they are doing it. A really captive audience they can gather before the news starts. They run this ad to show that, hey, and the ad starts 2 men, which I thought was even better, because they say, yes, that the male population avoids mental health issues, whispers, as a matter of fact. So once we can show persons that it's happening, it's normal in terms of it's normal to occur, help is available, support is available, I think the awareness will grow. That nothing is wrong with you, not to be shunned and put in a corner. It's just a matter of seeking good help and making yourself consistent in receiving that help.
I don't know the idea to talk about, honestly. I have not watched news in like probably 5 years or so much, or so little.
That's okay. I was just impressed that yes, they are advertising, they're showing that it was about 2 men and one switching over to the next one saying, hey, I'm seeing you at the matches, and he had the sporting ball in his hand. And the guy was like, nah, you go ahead without me. And the guy was like, no, I come with the ball for you. What's happening? And they started conversing. And the ad ended. To show, we are speaking about clearly something was bothering the one who was hiding at home.
Interesting, very interesting. And what I also like about it, and what you said, Damali, and it's something that, again, we continue to stress here in the living room, is that for men, we also need to be our brother's keeper. And men, I think there's another ad that I saw on TV speaking to the fact that men, besides mental health, we do even talk about health in general.
Yeah.
So I think ads like that, be it on TV, on the radio, on social media, or whichever platform, are very important to show men that it's okay to discuss these serious issues about life and not just about football teams and cricket and all these different things.
Right.
World
It's
Cup
sad.
started.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's true, Iran.
Yeah, because even I do acknowledge that the conversation has gotten a little more sophisticated. Like the general mental health conversation is a little more sophisticated than it would have been a couple of years ago. Where back in the day, fellas going and sweat would be about blowing off steam. But now we recognizing that, the community activity, the physical exercise, that type of thing actually falls under the umbrella of self-care. That the language that we using, we acknowledge that you're going to drink 2 beers is not about having an alcoholic beverage. It's about creating a space where we could have a conversation about something that I'd much rather not carry home. We acknowledging the motivation behind the action and it making it easier for us to sometimes just cut to the chase. Your text message from your partners and is, hey, I ain't hearing you, everything cool out. And he knows, well, it's not because I'm looking for company, like I'm actually checking in on you. You're starting to see a bit more of that. And as I say, the language getting a little more sophisticated. We're not just writing it off as, them boy looking to lime, or, we coming home late because this one cooked by a half. No, we might have actually been sitting down discussing things that making it easier for us to manage home life or to not walk off the walk.
True. Just one thing, Ricardo, rather than 2 beers, I would say 2 cups of lime juice.
Or infused water. Agreed.
Yes, we do really sanction the use of alcohol to deal with life stresses, because that will just create more problems than solve.
Because when the rum done, the problem might still be there.
Definitely, and more.
You could definitely lean into the substance abuse and addiction as a unhealthy coping mechanism in our episode going forward.
And I like how you mentioned substance abuse and use there, Ricardo, because there's a difference between substance usage and substance abuse, right? But we know that anxiety and depression have been some of the more commonly touted mental health topics. Now, because of the pandemic, a lot of other topics would have come out. So, Damali, has there been any, I don't want to say new because some of them would have been existing before.
Correct.
But has there been any upsurge in other issues?
Yes, there has been an upsurge, and I'm wondering if it's due to the pandemic, and possibly this is just my evaluation of it, right? It's purely anecdotal. In terms of self-acceptance, self-identification, we are seeing a little more of that in the practice with regard to people trying to suddenly pinpoint where they are in terms of sexual orientation and identification.
No, it is curious. The pandemic would have possibly influenced that. Is it?
When I say possibly influence, I mean it. As I say, it's purely anecdotal.
Yeah.
But in terms of, remember, we were shut down. There were much less distractions. So you were at home with your thoughts and your feelings for extended periods of time.
Right. So, not being distracted and being in a space where you might have been removed from community, identity would be the thing that comes into play now. Who am I when I don't have these things going on?
Well, the identity was always there. Now it's a matter of, can I accept this identity? Can I publicly live it? What would my parents say? Family members? If you come from a purely or highly religious background, the pandemic was supposed to be a warning sign. How can I now, with this warning sign, openly state this is the way I feel and think? So it was a real mixture of some very profound concerns that people were having within themselves.
When the lights go down there. Well, you're in pensive. I see you in pensive mood there. When
I noticed.
Mhm.
No, like I know this question would have brought about an answer which a lot of persons would not have been comfortable with hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me that there's so much more conversations that we need to normalize. Because if we have to live in a world where we may not respect or accept someone's position, we are supposed to be able to respect the individual still.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's still tough to have a conversation like this and has me in a mood like this, I could imagine how some of our listeners may feel hearing this over the airwaves or who are viewing us on YouTube. So if this is a trigger for you, we do apologize, but we have to also acknowledge that it's a conversation that we needed to have because it's a real scenario that a lot of persons may be facing, right? But the other reason for the pensive mood is generally it's a touchy topic personally for me in terms of hearing the identity aspect. Because as Ricardo said, when the lights go down, who are you really? And I think a lot of us have difficulty still accepting that the pandemic taught a lot of us things about ourselves that we did not know. And now that we are going back out into what was the active world before, some of us could be struggling with, do I continue with who I was during the pandemic, the person that used to listen to calming music all the time? Or do I go back into this environment and listen to Zest all the time? And if I choose to maintain the calmness that I had, am I going to lose friends? Am I going to become less of the person that I was before? And I'm just talking about something as simple as the socializing aspect. Because as you grow older, your palate could change, your social palate could change. But does that mean that because now I like cricket as opposed to liking football, does that make me less acceptable amongst my peers? So I'm just using small things like that. But there may be bigger issues where somebody may be battling a general identity of, I am no longer an extroverted person. I have now become a homebody, an introvert. Does that make me less likable? Does that make me less acceptable? And that is where it comes to me, like those things from coming out of the social aspect of the pandemic. And not just the pandemic, even before that, these general shifts in life that you may be battling internally. And then it reaches now you have to be, does that make me less acceptable amongst my peers?
Damali, if I can ask a pointed question, because what Aaron raised there, that particular Japanese, a couple of weeks ago he coined a phrase of relationship.
Oh Lord, Mike. You come back with this again?
I'm going to use relationship in every episode for the foreseeable future. It is a fantastic word, right? But are you seeing, in terms of, and I know you can't disclose specifics, right, in terms of names, details, etc. But are you seeing an increase in people who having relationship and all challenges because of the changes that they underwent during the prolonged lockdown, because of the just who they've become or who they have shed in this space where they've changed and they realize the coping mechanisms that they've adopted might be healthier than the ones that they had. Their taste for entertainment and conversation, the little shifts. Are you seeing that these things are causing friction in relationships? Or are you seeing more, people's communities have responded and being better supported than before? Because we like to say in Trinidad, we don't say you get rich and switch and thing, we just say you're going against.
Yes, unfortunately, yes, those two words, yes. Now, Ricardo, Aaron, pandemic or no pandemic, you can only hide who you are for so long. So if now I'm just using Aaron's terms, you were an extrovert and now you find yourself an introvert, you were probably always an introvert. The extrovert side of you was a facade. It was a defense mechanism to deal with whatever was going on internally. However, you probably came to a point where to continue with that facade was really going to impact your mental health in terms of slipping into anxiety and depression and substance abuse. So therefore, for your self-care, we decided, hey, let me lay this down and be who I know I am. And that's an introvert, and put things in place to craft and support that lifestyle. And if it is working for you and you are comfortable, fine. If it's the opposite, you're pretending to be an introvert, although I don't know how long you can do that for in terms of years. And now you really were an extrovert and you want to be extroverted, I would just encourage you to do these things safely.
Sound counsel.
And that's the thing, I think the main thing about it in any mental health conversation is that you have to know yourself, being self-aware. And I think a lot of us struggle with being self-aware, which is why a lot of these issues become prevalent. If you don't know yourself, how can you be?
That's true. But generally, in a sense, know themselves in Iran. It's just that they don't like what they see. So therefore, the introspection stops at a certain point.
Yes, there's a term, the heavy lifting. The people, yeah, you're right. As you rightfully said, people have an idea of who they are, right? And the elements of themselves that they're uncomfortable with. When you don't treat those spaces, if you don't explore those spaces, when you don't accept those spaces, you end up fabricating a life around you that fits those things. It makes room for them. And when you're forced to face them, you realize how much of the life you fabricated was for that season, was for that space, was for that zone you were in. And a lot of people find themselves questioning how real their life was, how meaningful the things that they put into place. All of a sudden you find people disinterested in things that they were completely dedicated and committed to. And now, again, not to overdo the phrase, but don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, because now you realize there was something that was good for a season, or it's not good anymore, and you're thinking it wasn't good at all. You know, or a relationship that ended poorly, and now you start to paint the whole relationship on that negative light because it is now over, or is not what you thought it would have been. And it's almost as if you're seeing people struggling with the fact that maybe the season's changing, and a lot of people have challenges with change.
Yeah.
Even if the change is really just a revelation of what was always there.
Yeah.
Right? Change, right?
Change.
Something you don't get when you go by the parlor anymore. You get to the lament.
If you get to.
If you get to. Gone are the days of $4 and $4. Anyhow, the last question that we want to ask this evening, Damali, right? We know that there has been an upsurge in the amount of hybrid vehicles on the road. And they say that hybrid vehicles need more preventative care as opposed to reactionary care. Do you think that mental health, the approach should become one of more precautionary, or should we continue in the current model of a reactionary approach?
Well, definitely it should be more preventative, because the reactionary approach, as you see, it's very knee-jerk, and with it being knee-jerk, it is getting, in terms of persons experiencing the signs and symptoms of mental ill health, you see that it is increasing. So why don't we do the preventative? Because prevention is better than cure, right? And you have to understand that mental health exists along a continuum or a spectrum. So you can have good mental health all the way to ill mental health. And none of us, Aaron and Mikado, know what situation in life may trigger a mental health response that carries us into the ill category. We don't know our genetics, right? We don't know our subconscious or unconscious mind, but something may happen that catalyzes mental health, ill health symptoms, and therefore we are now behind the 8 ball rather than sitting in front of it. So I would encourage persons, yes, definitely focus on your mental health. It should be part and parcel of your life, just like you brush your teeth every morning. Your self-care and mental health techniques, programs, processes, whatever they are, methods, should be part and parcel of your life every day, constantly and consistently.
And with that, I want to ask you, for the people who haven't spent the years in conversation the way that we have, what are some of the starting points, the basics in terms of, if when I wake up tomorrow, please God, what can I do to start working on my mental health? You know, just some of the normal things that we could introduce to our day.
Great question, Ricardo. A simple one would be exercise. People don't understand the benefits that exercise can give to you. And exercise is not walking from the bottom of High Street, Pennywise, to the top by Royal Castle. All right, that's true. Exercise is when your heart rate is elevated. Okay, that's when you know, because that's when you're incorporating the proper breathing techniques that help thoughts, Ricardo, go in and out of your mind organically. That nothing settles in a serious way that causes you to ponder and to reflect negatively, and therefore build these negative feelings, which then turn to negative action. So I always encourage persons, even if it just means making 2 laps around your yard at home, exercise, relaxation in some type of way, recreation, something that you enjoy, something that you would know that builds your endorphins or releases them. Social support is a really major one. Having a good social support network that you can reach out to and trust and know the help is forthcoming, it's immediate, and of course that, as persons would say, your business would not be in the streets after.
I want to ask a wild question here.
Thank
you. As we get older, as we grow up, as our tastes change, as we explore identity and we move into different seasons, all of these lovely anecdotal phrases, we end up in situations where it's harder and harder to make friends. As simple as it is, for the people who blessed with a strong social community, thank God. But a lot of people find it hard to make new friends. And we have pop culture telling people things like no new friends and day ones and all those types of things, as if new relationships somehow just unhealthier than old ones. And that leads people to believe that because you know somebody long, you know, they warrant a longer rope now. Or, you know, there's a twisted sense of loyalty where we stick to what we know, sometimes longer than we should, but that's a whole lot of conversation. There are people right now who recognize the need for healthier spaces. They recognize the need for community. They recognize that their identity has been locked into a certain place and space for so long that they don't know who they are now. So I can ask you very, very succinctly, compared to the lead up that I had before. Do you have any advice to people in the 30s and 40s, 50s right now? Any advice on how they can make friends, establish this community?
That's a good point. Of course, I would encourage you to find like-minded people, but they have to be positive, because like-minded people could be engaged in vices. I'm like, well, if this person likes to do this negatively, and I like to do that, well, then this could be a friend. No, because as we see, all that just certainly deteriorates into what we are unfortunately viewing now in society, right? Hurting people, speaking out of hurting people, and then people are hurt. So for anyone in your 30s and 40s, firstly, it goes back to the self-examination. Think about a friendship that you had in life that you really enjoyed, that was enduring for a period of time. What caused it to end? What were the factors you contributed to it ending? Going forward, what would you do differently? And with that blueprint in mind, you reach out into when I say your church group, your spiritual background group, your work group, your recreational groups, as we even mentioned, cricket, football, You reach out and then you, in meeting somebody, you do a person examination. Are they displaying attitudes and values that I, find to be congruent to my own? Are they respectable individuals? Do they have positive philosophies? And depending on what the evaluation of the other person brings, well then you put the two together and see if this can be a new budding relationship. Or can I go back and repair or mend my past relationship?
Did not anticipate that part.
I'm not going to say that. I don't think that's the answer you were looking for, Ricardo.
Aaron, I remember as a beacon of light and purity, righteousness and justice, and a model of modesty. I don't have much past relationship preparing to do. I will tell people I'm sorry. I will accept their apologies. We go put the work in to make the thing better.
But do you apologize?
Of course, I love apologizing because if I could recognize where I was wrong, it diminishes the possibility that I'll be wrong again in the future, and I like to be right. So for me, it's just moving along the learning curve. I'm real good at that, and I'm sorry if I led you to believe that I wasn't Aaron. Let's see what I did there.
We are getting perilously close to the hour of 7 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. And Damali, I want to thank you so much for coming in to have this casual conversation on the serious topic that is mental health. And I just want to allow you a couple minutes before Ricardo and I end off the program for any closing remarks, anything like that, any social media handles, anything of the sort. For anybody who may want to contact you to have a conversation like this in a professional capacity.
Thank you, Aaron. Wow. Well, you all will say I am one colossal dinosaur in terms of the social media. My handle is my name that I was born with and printed on my birth paper. That's the extent of the handles I have.
At least you have that.
I'm sorry, yes. But if any questions arise, Aaron, would you so kindly share your handle that persons can reach out to you and you can more than pass them to me, if that's okay?
Not a problem. What they can do is comment in the comment section if you're looking at us live right now on YouTube. You can also go on YouTube, search for DJ Aaron 868, or just search for the Living Room 868 and the playlist will come up. And you could comment or feel free to send me a message and I will pass it on to Damali. Right? And remember, since I get on my info, I had to say it to Ricardo. Please message for business purposes only.
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. Well, Aaron is no longer in his slide into his DMs season. Right? Send my email season. That is the season here right now. Send my email.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So again, thank you, Damali. It was an excellent conversation and one which we needed to start off Mental Health Month with. The only thing I would say we could have done differently is we could have provided snacks, but Ricardo did not, so that's why we're still hungry.
You know what I propose? I propose that the next time we have a conversation with Damali, that we have it in person. I have a couple of places that we could go to and sit around and have a comfortable treat and a infused water beverage. That's what we're talking about here, Aaron. And that's plain water?
Yeah.
You sure?
Plain.
Alright, nice one.
Try to drink at least.
Kyle?
No. I try to drink at least what? I saw what you did there, but I'm ignoring you. I try to drink at least 2.5 liters of water a day.
I'd call it tough tanks. But yeah, good practice, by the way. Good practice. I'm grateful for this conversation because it definitely it revealed one or two talking points that I realized we've been ignoring, and even in terms of just the way that we're looking at mental health. Yes, it's good to understand the terms, it's good to understand how sophisticated the language could be, but sometimes it's really just a case of doing a little in work, investigating yourself a little bit, asking yourself the questions, or dealing with the questions that come to you because something happened the other day, and very, very briefly, I just want to mention that sometimes people ask us questions or point out things to us, and we upset with them because even though the delivery mightn't be 100, even if the situation might not have been a positive one, it doesn't mean that the thing that they reveal is untrue or unnecessary. Not every mirror of our lives that is held up to us is going to be a well-polished and pretty one. Sometimes the things that people show us going to be uncomfortable and going to challenge us. All right. So in the interest of not losing the lesson in the exchange, even if somebody, again, this is not professional advice, this is not instruction from Cardo. What I'm saying is, even if a situation challenges you, makes you upset or uncomfortable, don't ignore the possibility that there might have been something meaningful to you, to your growth, to your progress, to your peace in that. Because I will safely say that I had to learn how to be shown things about myself that I might not have paid attention to otherwise, because I wasn't in a place to receive it, or it would have been too much heavy lifting at that point in time. So, though the girls, anybody who's skin teething and grinning with you all the time, and yes, Aaron, yeah, boy, Aaron, and never challenging you, that's more of a cheerleader than a teammate. If you're into sports, a teammate will tell you, boy, what kind of bad pass is that? You know, I'm gonna pat you on the back and tell you, hey, great job, you know, do it just like that again the next time.
And the ball going on factoring.
That's what I'm saying. You know, not every uncomfortable experience means it was either meaningless or negative. That's me there, saying that the mental health, it has some stuff in the relationship and all experiences to explore.
Yes. Is that going to be a future topic?
Yes, and you know why? And I want you to come back for this.
Experiences.
I want you to come back for this topic because back in the day, Aaron loved a relationship in our conversation, and our communication is key, and body language is a thing. And I find lately, we don't want to have those conversations on air at all, boy. So you know what? I will invite you back for that conversation. Aaron, Aaron, I realize can't get your tongue, boy. Nicely. But hey, this is Ricardo Mitchell, the social sage on the global stage. Thanking you for joining us in the living room. Remember, guys, the hourglass is opaque. We don't know how much time remains, so whatever you're doing, be good and stay safe. Damali, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Aaron?
The words of our guest, which featured a lot when we had the program, The Ladies Room, came to mind tonight. That genetics loads the gun, but environment pulls the trigger. As Damali said tonight, you could only pretend to be someone for so long before the true self comes out. Guys, take some time over the next couple months before the revelry starts for Carnival and Christmas. Take some time over the next couple months and learn yourself. Learn about yourself. Do some heavy lifting before the heavy lifting of the Christmas cleaning. Take some time to learn yourself. All right? Next week, I shouldn't put a tab on this, but over this month, as I said, we would be covering another mental health episode, something with Tuko, as well as something on breast cancer awareness. We have a lot to do this month, and we are going to try our best to do as much as we can to normalize the difficult conversations which need to be had. Mr. Desmond is up next with the big band, and I always tell you that culture is my code, and how does Ricardo? Love is the currency, so spend some today. Let somebody know that you love them, guys. Keep it locked to the True Nation station.